Is stress good for you? Now, that's a fascinating question. Stress we often think about as being a negative thing, but if you didn't have stress, you wouldn't get up in the morning. So stress, interpreted in the right way, can be a very good thing for you because it enables you to, as it were, grow and develop in life. It's a way to come out of your comfort zone. So I would say stress handled in the right way with the right perspective can be good for you. Monitoring our stress levels and knowing whether or not I'm too stressed is quite tricky because obviously we're living inside our own bodies. And I think one of the best ways to do that is asking yourself questions like, am I finding myself more irritable and annoyed with myself or others? Am I finding that I'm getting more impatient? Are there things that are happening in my life that previously I would have been able to manage or handle, but I'm finding that too much for me? It's often hard, and often it's the people who are closest to us who can pick it up before we do. And it's important that we are aware what our limitations are, and also if there are any warning signs. So, for example, for myself personally, I know that I'm pushing myself too far when I start getting cold sores, because that's an indication to me that maybe I'm working too hard, I'm maybe not sleeping enough, or my mind is ruminating on things that too much and that are not helpful to me. What does stress do to the body? I think when we think about that, stress puts our body into fight and flight mode. So we have the rise of the stress hormones of cortisol and noradrenaline. And as that, for a short period of time, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but as it carries on, it can have chronic long-term effects. So people who have chronic stress have higher rates of heart attacks, have worse physical health symptoms, are more prone to infectious diseases and immune reactions. Long-term stress has its toll on the body, but also the important thing to realize is the way that I look at stress is really important. There was some research by a psychologist called Kelly McGonigal who was able to show that just thinking that stress is bad for you has a significant increase on your levels of mortality and illness. So it's the way I look at stress is as important as actually what's happening to me. That's a hugely subjective question. And I think the best way to answer that is by thinking, how am I managing with my current coping mechanisms? If you're feeling that you aren't able to talk with anybody else about this, or that you feel that you're reaching the limits of your own capability, then I would really encourage you to see a specialist and to get an outside perspective. I think that's very hard, as it were, to understand what we're going through when we're looking from within ourselves. And so getting an outside perspective from your doctor, from a specialist would be quite useful. I think it's really important to have a holistic view of your life. We're not just machines, we're not just human doings, we're human beings. And we need to be able to ask ourselves questions. Is the pace at which I'm going, is it sustainable? Why am I, as it were, taking on this particular job role or this work? What am I trying to prove maybe to myself or to others? Is this really what I want to do? We are complex, multifaceted beings who have a complete variety of emotions and motivations. And it's really important that we get an outside perspective to think, is this really what I want to do? Is this a direction that I really want to go? And am I causing stress to myself unnecessarily because of demands and expectations of myself or others? If you feel that you need to get help and you feel you're struggling, then I would really encourage you to reach out for that support.